So, how can you explore everyone's uniqueness and creativity? For artists, one concept. We each draw an artwork based on this concept. I collaborated with 3 wonderful pixel artists. These amazing people were Artindi, spoonsweet and Kaishido. The idea was that we come up with a certain concept of our art, and then in no longer than 60 minutes we need to draw our own art and describe it, sharing the experience. For this jam, the concept was first, a hero in the foreground, second, an enormous enemy or obstacle in the background. So, how did the jam go for everybody? Hear about that from ourselves.
Hey everyone, my name is Artindi. I'm a content creator on YouTube and I do anything related to making video games, including pixel art, so I was very happy to be invited to participate in this art jam. Now, I can't say I'm super happy with the final product though, but that is bound to happen when working under a time constraint, which I've never done before. Usually a piece this size and this detailed I would spend at least twice as much time on. Knowing this to be the case, I had to limit myself while looking for reference material. I passed up a lot of ideas that I normally would have done if I had more time. In the end, I settled on a nice night reference, but changed the position of some of the limbs. The first 20 minutes were spent speed drawing the knight and doing some quick details. I do like how the detailing worked out on the knight, even though I did them faster than I normally would. Sometimes with pixel art, you don't have to put as much thought into it, and it still looks great. I spent the next 15 or so minutes working on a landscape, and I felt happy with this one. I had to use a bunch of techniques that I've used previously in order to do it more quickly, otherwise I usually struggle with landscapes. So past experience definitely helped in this case, and I ended up liking it, although I did change some of the hues later on to make it look a little better. For the monster, knowing I was limited on time now, I decided to forego any of the references I had found thus far and try my hand at creating some sort of Lovecraftian cosmic horror, hoping that its shapelessness would make it easier to draw. And it was. I just used black and kind of scribbled around, placing it behind the trees and holding the mountains to give it terrifying scale, and then added some limbs reaching in towards the knight just to give it some depth. Then, with a few highlights, it really just came to life. But I wanted it to not feel so solid. After all, Lovecraftian horror is supposed to be about the terrors of the unknown, something that creates existential dread and fear on a cosmic scale. But I had very little time at this point, so I kinda cheated. I used a dithering tool and just placed a blanket layer of dark transparent color over the whole image several times. Then I used a brush to do the same. And on the night I did it again, but with a light transparent layer, just for some contrast. Now, I say this is cheating because pixel art by definition has to have a limited palette. Otherwise it just turns into digital art. By adjusting the brightness of so many different pixels in so many different ways, I kinda lost my limited palette, and hardcore pixel artists could definitely disqualify this piece from being actual pixel art. But let's just keep that on the down low. We'll keep it between you and me, the viewer and me. Just don't say anything to anybody. In the end, I'm happy with what I was able to do in just 1 hour, but feel like if I had just 2 more, I could have done so much better, and maybe not have cheated. But restrictions are kind of the point when you're doing an art jam, so big thanks to John Ivess for putting this together. I'm so glad that I was able to participate, and hopefully my cheating won't keep me from doing it in the future.
Hello everyone, this is spoonsweet. I am really excited to be part of this challenge with these amazing people. I started searching references and big boy monster memes. Choosing a palette was the first step. I was between 2, then decided on the Moonlight one by Tofu since I thought the colors fit the template image nicely. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough time to add details, so I began by focusing on the silhouette of the monster. As you can see, I'm using the contour tool as well as tilting my brush a random amount of degrees. This allows me, with one tool, to draw details if I want, by minimizing the size, and filling in the space nicely, creating less rigid patterns. From the references I had checked out, I had the following ideas. 1. I was fascinated by the orbiting crowns or elemental objects around monsters' heads. While I thought of just redoing my previous work as a then and now practice to see how I'm improved over a year, I thought of combining both ideas and make floating some modern objects like keys from a keyboard or wires. 3 heads, 3 keys? But which 3 keys? Ctrl-Alt-Delete felt like a good combo. Really liked how this quick method to make keys came out. I was aiming to fix them later, but guess what? No time! Now what does Ctrl-Alt-Delete do? It brings forth the task manager. I take a break. Now that I look back at the rules, it seems I have to have the main character on the foreground, so I need to change the perspective of the scene. And while I wanted to make the hero more connected with the theme of technology, and maybe a player, a user or a hacker, at the end I got stressed for time and went with the classic sword and shield combo. A bit of work on the environment and time is up! The things I'm happy with. The palette was a nice combination of vibrant fluorescent radiation-like colors and dark blues. This allowed me to highlight the points of interest and allow for nice lighting, where I managed to put in the effort, of course. The idea, it was nice how it fitted with 3 keys and 3 heads, also the mouths corresponding to control with the growling snarling face, the second shouting Alt, and the third one is waiting to delete, perhaps too kindly waiting. What I am not happy with. Inconsistent style between the gate, the monster and the hero. The door has outlines while the rest do not. The hero is a mess. I went for a quick effects without a clear idea, adding a cracked skull while no lighting or shading has ever been attempted. The pattern on the back maybe saves it a bit, since it can also be interpreted as a circuit board and chainmail. Kerberos is just a big lump with bad dithering for a shadow. Finally, for some reason I fixed the N to M, so it's now Task Manager. The whole composition came out as a heart shape. Nice.
Hello, my name is Kaishido. I've been a pixel artist for 7 years now, and I work as a freelance for various indie game companies. To be fair, there was a great opportunity for me to practice my composition skills and just to create a cool piece for the weekend, so that was pretty fun. The whole concept for my own piece, it didn't come to mind right away. I had to make a few thumbnails here and there on paper to really grasp what I wanted to do. So for the first few concepts, I wanted to make a chain-wielding hero that was fighting a claw monster. But when I make compositions of that type, I usually make multiple iterations of as thumbnails, compare them, and then choose the one that resonates the most with my mood of the day. So that's what I did. I drew them, and then one concept struck me more than the other ones, and it was in 2 words, breaking rocks. So I took that idea and stretched it out into a simple description of a scene. And after thinking about it for a while, I took a break, went back, and it became this little monk fighting a huge rock monster. And so I started with that prompt, and then after that, all my memories of my old D&D games as a monk came to mind, because I always liked playing that class. And the rest just came naturally with just exploring as I was drawing. So I wanted to lay out the main foundations of the composition first, so I worked with the values to start with and have a base. And after that, making the palette helped me lay out the rest of the colors. I usually like playing with colors beforehand, make a palette on the side. This is not in the time-lapse, but that's what I did on the side, so just to set them up, and then after that, put them in my piece while I work on the whole piece. And the most tedious part of that composition was finding a good pose for the hero. So I had to sketch it on paper multiple times to really get a good feel. And then after that, it was a little bit easier to put on pixels. After that, the rest was pretty fun to do. The placing key elements on focal points of the frame, working on rock textures, making sure that the light source stays consistent through the whole piece. And after that, I made sure to place minor anti-aliasing all around. And then after that, I wrapped it up. It was a cool collab overall. I'm definitely willing to do it again. I love these prompts and these oversized monsters. It's always a fun concept to tackle, and you can make little worlds through your whole little piece. And that's it.
Before I started drawing, I was searching for references for about 40 minutes, if not for longer. I wanted to draw something related to The Witcher. While I was sure I won't draw Geralt in time, I decided to draw Manticore in the background. It's one of the most dangerous beasts in the Witcher universe. The only artistic deviation I made was that in my artwork the manticore had a devil's head. Also, I searched for epic music playlists, just so I can stay in an authentic mood while drawing. It took me about 10-20 minutes to find them. And this way, in total I spent about 1 hour just preparing for drawing what I wanted. To be honest, the most of work was done in the first 40 minutes. The last 20 were just polishing the shapes and adding the clouds. I was quite surprised how the artwork came out. As you can notice, I used 2 colors per character to add some shape to them via small details. For the manticore, the lighter color was the beast coloration, that also helped me emphasize the limbs. And for the hero, the shade was used for mostly bandages, which helped to add some depth. I think that the only thing I would change is about the manticore's depth. Currently it looks a little bit flat to me, even with the shade of the base color. But overall, I'm really happy about the anatomy of both the hero and the monster. My favorite piece is the hero. The lighter shade of grey really added a lot of depth. So, that's it. I guess you have noticed differences in our approaches to drawing. For instance, some of us used brush tool for sketching, while others used shape or line. And it's absolutely fine. With this video, I wanted to show that art can be drawn beautifully by anybody, and that every approach can be good if it works for you. Regardless of how, you can be an artist. So, what do you think of this format of videos? Would you like to see more? Let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear all your feedback. And with this being said, thank you for watching. I hope it was insightful and you liked it. And if you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It was Ivess, and until next time.